Hello and welcome to a Nioh 2 beginner's mistakes to try and avoid, basically. And I'm going to just jump straight into it. The first mistake people make, it's sort of being overawed by the UI and what's complicated and what's good and what equipment's great, and looking at equipment and looking at the stats and getting worried about, what's good and what's bad. But really, early on, let's go. Purple items. Collect all the purple items you find. So this is just a simple tip. Any purple equipment, you want to collect it. You always want to pick it up. You have to pick them up. Pick them up. All the purple stuff. And all you're going to do is, you may not use it. It may not be the best equipment for you. There's no guarantees it's the best. The point is, you disassemble it. So anything purple, you disassemble. It gives you all the best materials. So that means that when if you ever feel like forging something, a weapon or an armor, so let's just do an armor, random armor. Something crap, doesn't matter. Yeah, that'll do. You got all the purple materials, so you're the best chance of making it a purple weapon. So that's a simple tip. Now whether I get a purple one, we'll see. Let's see. Oh well, bad luck. But you have a better chance of getting it. Come on, one more. I'll piss off. The other thing, this is all the blacksmith, so I'm going to focus on blacksmith for a second. Don't bother. Selling your equipment is only worthwhile early on, when maybe you need a bit more gold, but later on you won't even worry about it. So you'll be converting most of your items into Amrita via the shrine, which I'll show you in a second. But buying ammo, I suppose it's okay, but you're better off not doing it that way. So I'm going to explain the better way to do it. So going to the shrine, and get where you level up, making offerings. So you don't want to offer everything. So this is a great way to do it. So these two crappy things I made. So you offer the items, you get your Amrita for them, and you can use that to level up. So early on you're not going to get much, but it really does build up. So, and then you can get elixirs from it, because you get a chance of getting bonuses. So it's a very good thing to do. The other thing, of course, is getting the Oracle Blessing. So finding all the Kodama in each region, so that you can get 25% bonus Amrita acquired. It just helps a lot with farming. Again, you want to do it in the regions which have the missions that you like the best, that you can farm the best. One of the other things you can do, of course, is just have drop rate. Or early on, elixir drop rate is very helpful as well. And then when you're farming for equipment, Samurai Blessing, that sort of stuff's not a big deal. So let's go into a mission. I'll show you what I mean, the best place. Oh yeah, let's just chuck in, whatever. I'm going to leave anyway. So the other... Let's just run across. You can dash run. It is the fastest way to run. So when you go to make offering, you go to the Kodama Bazaar. So this is where you're going to get all your ammo. So one of the things you can do is activate auto purchase with triangle. So it allows you to automatically purchase rifle ammo, hand cannon once you've done certain, I think it's the third mission you've got to do, and arrows and elixirs. So this is something that if you do a lot of offerings, you'll have plenty of the Kodama resource, so you can just auto fill up your attacker cups, hand cannon, all your ammos and your elixirs. And this is probably the most helpful thing you got. So early on, maybe you won't have enough. You just make some offerings. You get so many divine rice from just offering up anything. It's crazy. It's crazy how much you get. And I'm just over the cap. I'm just so far over the cap it doesn't even notice. This is something that, when I see people streaming the game for the first time, I think, oh, it'd be so helpful if they had full elixirs, and they just don't realize that they can buy them. Also, you get limited time talismans, which are pretty good, so it's worth getting them. Even if you die, you can just buy new ones, even if you don't use them, so you can stack them up. So this is kind of a helping with difficulty. So if you find it you're having trouble, stuff like a quick change scroll, that's a second chance at life if you get killed. So that's that's a big helpful thing to have, and it doesn't fill up uh, any of your slots. So see any of your jutsu slots. So it's just very helpful. I'm not going to go too deep. One of the things, it may be worthwhile. I think this is probably the talisman that gets everyone's attention, and I don't want people to focus on it too much. It kind of pisses me off. The protection talisman enables you to survive a couple hits. Oh, let's just go on the skill tree. Again, we have skills, skill customization. I will go into in a second. Let's just go to skills. Let's go to Nioh, protection talisman. Here we go. So protection talisman, neutralizing a certain amount of damage. It has a very high cost, and it's something that always draws people in. There's this obsession with having it, and I find it just stupid, to be honest. Although it protects you a couple times, if you're getting hit, you've got problems in the first place. So it's a safety net, but it uses so much jutsu cost, even though it does reduce as you level up. It just takes up a lot of spot on your and when you could be better off having, maybe not even using steel, but you're better off having barrier. I think barrier is the most useful because it gets rid of the the dark shadow zone thingies. And it's so good. Barrier is so good. Key recovery, it's absolutely insane. So anything that enables you to have as much as that is just fantastic. And rejuvenation is really good. So I think I'd take rejuvenation, steel, and barrier over protection. And protection costs so much that it reduces the amount of steals and the amount of barriers and the amount of rejuvenation you have, particularly early on. I mean, it takes you a while to get the skill, the dojo to get protection talisman, but it's just something that if you don't focus exclusively on magic, I think you're better off with an overall bonus of having regenerating health and increased defense than just a temporary, you take a couple of hits and then it's gone. In terms of the ninjutsu early on, it's just shurikens. Just chuck shurikens and then grab fire shrapnel bomb. I mean, after you get fire gunpowder bomb, and then you can try and grab a couple of these other ones. Don't worry about the buffs for ninjutsu. I think the buffs in ninjutsu are quite poor until later on, until you've got lots of ninjutsu and they last a bit longer. So like stuff like levitation, don't even worry about that. So it's just because I've got so many skill points here. Increasing running speed and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, it's not really a big deal. One of the things you can do is do sneak thief catwalking combination, and you can run through a huge amount of levels. So this is something, once you've done I think the second ninjutsu dojo, maybe you're having trouble with some missions, you can always do sneak thief catwalking and just run through entire missions and just run past all the basic enemies until you get to the bosses. So it's just be careful you don't bump into the enemies because it does turn it off. So it is an option. And it's nice to just have one. You don't need to have 5 of them. You only need one. And then, use it every now and then. Maybe not. Maybe you'd just, you'd be okay. But it's an option. So the game provides a number of these features that make the game easier. And then it's just a case of knowing elements of your bosses and which things work best on them. So apart from that, focusing on a skill tree. Oh, what have I even done on this guy? This is Tonfa, isn't it? Yeah, just some basic stuff. Whether or not you're better off picking the skills you like and maybe not experimenting too much. It depends. You just got to know. Once you've tried everything you like, reset the skills and just try and maximize melee mastery. So you increase your just straight up damage. Things like where's the one? Health ones. Yeah, when you have full health, damage increases. That sort of stuff can be a bit annoying unless you have solid health regeneration via, amulet or absorption, which is all later game stuff. Again, we don't want to go too far, but just when your health is low, damage increases things. Don't worry about that so much. I think that's not going to help you tremendously. So do focus on whatever stance you like And, you know, you can try them all out and what sort of movesets you like. I prefer high stance generally, just because it's more damage. So we're talking, you know. And in this case... Oh, okay, this is this build. Okay, that's fine. Oh! Oh, that's one joke. Okay, so this is just a different sort of build, so I don't want to go too deep into it because it is a bit complicated. But this is a animation cancelling build, so this is just something to think about if you want to do probably the most powerful ninjutsu build in the game. So it's kind of a mix between magic and ninjutsu because it just looks like magic when it's really just the nature of it. So you do your ability, and then you do... Oh, if you're ever going to go to him, key. Give me some key! Alright, I got an item for key, gonna. Give me some key! Some of the other things... Yeah, these are probably the ones to go for. Shortcut items. I want usable items. Goddamn. So you do have a lot of... new items is great for finding all your new stuff. Make sure to check that. Soul cores, don't worry about that stuff. Key items, don't just keep your divine rice up. Oh, chakra cups you can run out of these. And this is one of the problems people have early on when they're summoning people to help them, is that people put higher level characters down because they think they're the most helpful, but then they cost 5 chakra cups, and then say you summon them, then you die a couple times, you lose all your cups. You just have to make sure you play with others. Really. Play with other people, random encounters, and you'll be able to farm chakra cups, and then you'll be able to help people. So we'll go to summon visit. I'll explain. So you don't always have to summon 2, so it does cost you 2 to do 2. And you can always cancel them. So one of the things even late game you can run out. So we can withdraw chakra cups. Withdraw a cup. Just be mindful that you can always farm them from Revenant Souls. So you kill a Revenant Soul and then they're going to drop our chakra cups. That's why they're so prevalent. I think it functions in that way as well, that you can use it to farm stuff. You can't farm equipment from them like you used to be able to. They did change it. It used to be you could do all sorts of crazy shit. So there was some really good stuff you could do before, which is quite sad. You can't do it now. Back to... so the animation cancelling, I was going to do thing, wasn't I? Da-da-da-da-da. So this is one of the better ninja builds. So I don't want to brush over it too much. Lantern Plate Fruit. Okay. So it just primarily focuses, you do your ability, and then you cancel it. By using your R2 and circle, your spirit form dodge. So whichever, and the best one for that, of course, is the blue one, which is feral. So you use your feral spirit form, and it means you can. It means you can just go. It just means you can stack up abilities quicker because the animation is quite slow for these ninjutsu abilities. So doing it that way means you can just wreck them. Absolutely obliterate them, and there's really not much they can do against it. I'm not going to go into Stone of Penance because that's another complicated feature, and there's so many things you can do in this game that's really complicated. So I'm going to use it to some of the items that people never use. Red Spider Lily is actually pretty good, increasing your maximum anima. So glue, I will talk about how to make glue. I think that's important too, look for later on. Shinobi boxes, you can always collect these and just sacred brushes to regen your onmyoji or your ninjutsu. So that's really helpful to have a couple of those. And there's plenty of missions you can do that just farm them. And spots where you can just keep respawning or exiting the game, come back in and then searching a box and getting more of them. And you can make them as well. So they're very, very helpful, especially say you're doing a ninja build, onmyoji build, and you're only early on, you run out of your supply and you're halfway through a zone, you haven't got a shrine in sight. It's good to have a couple of these so you can just refresh some of your inventory of magic or ninjutsu. So we've got the Divine Branch. And you want to collect these, but you should save them. Don't be too crazy. The other things, plenty of antidotes. Don't worry about the antipyretic needles. You never use them. The Diagenin sake is actually pretty good. So you just gets rid of the elemental ailments. So that can be helpful, and especially in fire levels, that can be quite handy against certain fire enemies. You always want to keep small spirit stones. So you'll be tempted early on to use them and try and level us up as much as possible, but you're going to get lots of them over time. And the amount they give is so little that their function is actually better for getting you to your form. So let's just use 10. 10's fine. See, now I can use my ability and go. Now, one of the best things about this form, which people don't seem to rate it too much, is that you can use it just as just an extra buffer for health. And let's go. And then you've got a bit of, you can, chuck down some, just one of the best yokai abilities in the game. And we've got, oh yeah, I've just got lightning stuff. I've just got some elemental things on the other slots. So just using 10 little stones, I can go full mode, full yokai form, and that's so helpful because you get some immunity, you get some damage absorption, so you can save yourself if you're on low health. You can use it for boss fights. It's something that new players really underuse in boss fights, and I'd like them to know that they can use it, especially for magic and ninja builds. It's really, really helpful because you can just stay in it for ages and just chuck your ability, and it's just an added level of safety. So that's kind of the main focus of it. And again, you can go into your titles and try and bump up how long extend the yokai shift, and that is, again, out of all the other things here, it's probably one of the least priority, but it's still good to do. So again, life is always great. In terms of titles, key and life, they're just a given. Gold earned matters a lot more late game, because you do need to earn a fair bit of gold to do soul matching until you've got the discounts perfected, which we'll go back and do that in a second. If you're doing Omo, of course, Omo Magic Power. Elixir efficiency helps as well, just how much you heal within your elixirs, so this sort of stuff is just good. Other realm resistance also helps, so it reduces the slowing effect of key recovery. This is going to help a lot, again, late game, the depths, and certain situations. It's a small benefit, but you'll feel it a little bit. You'll be like, oh, it's just not as punishing being in the other realm. And then doing your yokai ability damage, that helps, depending on your build, since all the builds are different. Soul Core drop rate, though, I do recommend you get that up a little bit until, you've got some other bonuses maybe. But let's get out of this mission. Anything else useful? There's a lot of stuff here that's not useful. The lantern plant fruits can be useful because it gets your anima up, and if your build doesn't build up anima quick enough and you want to use your yokai abilities more often, it can be helpful. So this is probably another underused item that you could have on your as a shortcut item. What else have we got? I feel like I'm covering so much and making it so complicated that it's being a bit too harsh to beginners, but it is what it is. The whetstone, putting the familiarity up on your weapons. Again, as you use them, they build up familiarity and do more damage. And then when you compare them to other weapons that may be higher level weapons that you're getting as a low level character, they may seem like, oh, the other weapons I just picked up, these new ones aren't that good. My one does more damage, but you got to take into account familiarity. So I'll show you a weapon. So the familiarity does bump up all these stats. So something that doesn't have any, it seems like it's worse. But if you used it the same amount, the damage would go up. But again, it depends on the weapon types you're focusing on. So this one would get up to similar damage numbers. Probably the same. Again, depends on your stats and all that sort of stuff. Anything else worthwhile? Oh, I was going to go. Oh, okay, so I do want to touch on the sake. It's just increases the amount of money you get, and it accumulates. So it is good to do whenever you have it, just use it. Like, if you know there's going to be a lot of enemies in the next section, then it's good to use it. And if you go into boss fights and things. So do keep it in mind. So lots of times, there's a lot of items that drop. So this is going to be one of those that sort of just falls by the way. So the Uchiko powder is good. It allows you to raise familiarity quicker, which is really good when you're trying to just work a couple weapons up so you can do a soul match. And then you can swap across things. I'm not going to go too deep into that. But it's just helpful to have those. Collect those when you can. Don't leave them on the ground. Collect everything here as much as you can. All the yellow stuff. And the purple versions. I don't worry about the yokai incense because I just, play the map. I don't worry too much about it. The yokai water pipe, again, don't worry about that too much. Again, you can use that to farm Amrita, but it's just a bit of a hassle, so I wouldn't recommend it. Yokai mask, there's builds that go around it, but I again don't think it's a good thing because it's just an animation lock. So it's such a long animation that it's puts you in a vulnerable position. You can't dodge and you're in trouble. The clay bells of beckoning are really, really, really powerful. So the little cats, some of the most powerful items in the game. See, look at the little cat. See, look at the cat. And then you can also talk to the cat. So whenever you do your emotes, they respond. So they don't like the red ones, just because they're angry. They don't like this. But so yeah. Didn't even respond to the bow. Okay, he's done. He's done for business. He's sick. He's sick of it. Sick of that shit. Okay, let's go up here. One of the things you can also do later on is you don't want to do your shortcut. You don't want to add all the magic to it if you're not a primary magic build. So what you do is you just don't, and then you just go through. I've just got one of each. So this is just before you do a boss fight. See, I don't need to have 5 of each because I only need it just for one instance. What I've done is mixed a bunch of stuff, but you can do, instead of having just one fire stop, you can have a fire stop, a water stop, and a thunder stop. Lightning stop. Talisman. Anything else here? Don't worry about the visitor amulet stuff. That's again co-op. Not too big a deal. Salt, again, that's too much of it. The animation is quite slow. I wouldn't worry about that. Mud jar, maybe you could use that if you're desperate. I wouldn't worry too much about that. Sticky pot, again, not a big deal. Maybe you can use it on evidence. Dung balls, again, not a big deal. Sacred water is actually quite good. So one of the things in your skill tree is boosting how long it lasts. It's actually a really good buff. So I do think, it's worthwhile having, by collecting sacred water, which you'll get lots of it. You'll have so much you won't even notice if you use it. Arrow proof, again, just another one that's not really that big a deal. I wouldn't worry too much about it. In some circumstances it can be useful, but others you're just dodging anyway. The inspiriting gem is really, really good. So this builds up your, see at the top left? So basically the Amrita, so it allows you to get a special ability, get your yokai form going. And it's a helpful thing to have. So it's always good to search, collect whatever stuff you can. So I've just got like every buff on. Another thing I've seen beginners don't do is you can block a lot. So just, feel free to block. You've got good block. He got me! And be careful, because they can still get you when they're in their desperate last thing. Doesn't matter what level you are. I'm in Dream of the Nioh, so it is the hardest difficulty, but the hardest thing. But let's go grab those and get out of here. Don't you dare, mate. Don't you dare. Oh, brutal. So the game is always difficult. So this is one of these things I do want to mention. You can't underestimate your enemy. They always do good damage. So it's one of those things where as you get further in the game, you know, you're not going to become an immortal god necessarily all the time. You can always have that sort of vulnerability, and that's okay. It's kind of one of the things you need to embrace. This other stuff here is useless, so let's get out of here with the go up. That's it. Divine branch. Yeah, it's fine. So when you're going through, once you play through the game for the first time, let's go to the map. Once you've gone through Dream of the Samurai, that's it. Yeah, what am I doing? Samurai. Once you've beaten the game, you know, you've gone through, you've beaten the final boss, you've gone through all the main missions. You just move on to the next one. So you go to Dream of the Strong, and all you have to do from then on, this is something that really annoys me, you don't have to do any main missions. Only the final boss mission. You don't have to do any main missions again. You can just do side missions. And one of the things that happens is you get the first 3 zones. So you can do a whole bunch of side missions. Or like barely any. And just focus all the ones in shadow. You just have to do side missions. Side mission, side mission, side mission, side mission. And you can get all the way through. And then just do the final 2 missions here. And then you move on. Same with Dream of the Demon. Look! Barely done any missions. You can move through the difficulties so easily. It's kind of the thing that makes me go, people say they're in Dream of the Nioh, and I go, oh yeah, that's not hard. Because all you got to do is side missions. You do your side missions, you slowly level up. You upgrade your equipment, you try not to worry too much. I wanted to go to the blacksmith. I want to explain one thing. Soul matching is only worthwhile once you've got your green. So once you're at Greenland in the 180s, 170, 160s, yeah, 160 Greenland, then you do soul matching. Don't do it before then, because you're going to have items that are like level 110, and then you find something that's level 130, and you think, oh, I want to level my current weapon. I want to keep using my current one. Don't bother. You don't keep any of your basic purple or blue items. You don't use any of those once you get greens. And you're not going to turn them into greens. Don't even worry about that. You're just going to look for green ones. The ethereal one. You're just going to move on. Don't be attached to your weapons. Don't worry about them. You'll get better ones. And then once you get to these ones, you go, oh yeah, these are the best ones. I'm going to be attached to these. Boom. Next rarity. And then you'd be, oh, okay. And then you can move them from the green to the orange. So I'm not going to go into too much detail about that, but you can. You can transfer rarity across. So, see, rarity, inherent, and soul match. So, soul matching is so expensive that you just won't have the money until you've, you know, talked to her and you go, oh yeah, I have a request. And you just get the, what is it? Soul matching discount. It's not even her. It's bloody Muramasa. Soul matching cost discount from Muramasa is so important. So finding him, getting the soul matching discount, pumping that up. Tempering discount's also quite handy. I do wanna, let's go. The upper level limit for Sworja and lower level limit, don't even worry about that. Don't even bother. Don't bother paying soul match with patronage. That's just stupid. Disassemble to attain rare materials is really useful as well. So it just allows you to collect a tremendous number of things. So again, I do increase the sale price because later on selling items to blacksmith is better than using them for Amrita. So as you progress through the difficulties, the amount of Amrita you earn naturally increases, but it really it lags. So Dream of the Wise, you do not earn the amount of Amrita you deserve. So it's one of the things that it actually punishes you a bit, and you're not high enough level. So it kind of just, it sends the wrong signal. It makes you think, oh, I'm so underpowered. Because the second you get to Dream of the Nioh, you just go in one mission, and you just kill one dude, and you get like 10 million bloody... Okay, I'll show you how much you get. Dark Omens? This is my favourite. This is just such a... I'll always run this mission. Always run this mission. So summoning people, I always recommend it. So let's summon someone, why not? Now, you could maybe take the approach, the Souls approach that... Okay. That, you know, it's bad or whatever. Don't even worry about it. You just go in, the first thing you do, you kill some goddamn Revenant Souls. Always farming Revenant Souls. Whoa! Damage, mate! Yeah, just... Bugger off. Yeah, get him. Whoa! Finish him! So the Revenants are quite tough at this point, but, you know, that's because they're level 500. What do you expect? But just killing any basic enemy at this level... gets you stacks of Amrita. And so you start getting so much that you can just level up like crazy. So, let's just leave here. So you can end up getting to Dream of Nioh at like level 250, maybe 300, and then you just jump to like level 500 in like 3 missions, or 3 or 4 missions. You suddenly just get up a couple hundred levels. If you get up to here, level like 200, 220, depending on your build, of course, it's what's easier for you. You'll just pump up 150 levels. It's so ridiculous that you earn so much more Amrita in Dream of the Nioh than you do in Dream of the Wise. It's just unfair. It kind of just makes me... It's why I, you know, started skipping through, just doing side missions on subsequent characters. Because it's just so stupid. The difference. The difference is so massive. It's just ridiculous. Why do they... So there's no incentive. There's really... I don't recommend going too slow. Don't go slow. Go fast. All the way to Dream of the Nioh. Then you start getting the good gear. Because you only start getting it once you get to Dream of the Wise, getting the orange stuff, and then you start getting it consistently in Dream of the Nioh. So the rarity of the gear increases, and it's one of those things that you just need to, you know, be aware that you'll get better stuff. So don't be so attached to your lower level gear. But back to early on, keeping our chocolate cups, doing your dojo. Make sure to do these things when you're in the low level, of course, not when you're in the bloody high level. It's worthwhile to mix your skills. So you may think, I don't use magic. I don't need magic. Just magic is very, very helpful. Magic is great. Again, you don't want to depend on magic too much. You still want to be able to function without it, but it's just great to have. So it is important to do farming them, and one of the best ways to farm... One of the reasons why I still have that weapon at the bottom here. The wooden sword. So this is something you get early on just from doing training. Basic swordsman stuff. And it does proficiency bonus. And that just enables you to... Oh, let me go selections. No, I want to do... Oh, god damn it. No. God damn. Help. That's it. So one of the things you can do is press options and you can check what every single thing does. So just remember to do that often. So proficiency bonus increases weapon proficiency at a faster rate. So this also, it has some bonus for, you know, Onmyoji and all that stuff. So you do want to have it as your secondary or your primary weapon. More benefit on the primary, of course, just to farm your weapon. skills. So one of the things you can do, people always say that it's the Onmyoji training adept where you can farm really good Onmyoji skill and just keep pumping that. But I don't know. I don't want you focusing too much on farming, but you can. So what you can do is just keep repeating a weapon and then go back to a shrine and just go back and forth. So you can just go into a mission, a side mission, and just kill the first enemy that's in front of you using your ninja, and then just go back to the shrine and just kill them again and again and again. But it is better to use weapons that don't do much damage. So in the Onmyoji case, you just like water talisman on like the wooden sword, and then you just hit an enemy like 50 times because you're using such a low level wooden sword that you do such little damage that you can get more hits in. Because it's about the number of hits, not about how much damage you do. It's just about the amount of times you hit with them. So again, having, doing ninja stuff when you've got no ninja items, no equipment that supports it, and just sort of just spamming shurikens, and it takes you 50 of them to kill one enemy, which is unlikely, but it can happen. That's why I do think use spam all of them against bosses. So spam all your ninja, all your magic, just do it. Even if you're not focusing on those as part of your build, it's very helpful. Very helpful to have options as you progress through the game. Hidden Tea House, this is really good, really good. So the clan joining function, you do want to, pick the one that's right for you. So I have multiple characters, so you don't have to do what I do. You can actually just have one character and then change the build later on, but I actually don't like that. I like playing through the game fresh with a new character because it's that challenge. The challenge is, the game is hardest in the first playthrough. Dream of the Samurai is the hardest in the game because you're weak at that time. Later on, when you've refined your build and you know what you're doing, it's, you just sort of, you know what you're doing. You know the enemies by then, and it's easier, but it's still challenging, again, because it's a challenging game, Nioh 2. Because the enemies do so much damage in just one opening and you get smashed. So you gotta show no mercy, and they show no mercy on you. So for a beginner, I do think Toyotami is quite good because you get more life recovery just from Amrita Absorption, more Amrita, so you can just level up quicker. So this is something that you do. It takes a little while to unlock the tea house, so it's not straight away, but you have plenty of options, and all of these have like once you're part of the clan long enough, which may not be that long, or you just do some donations, you get an extra bonus. So you get more than just 20 life recovery or meter absorption. You get up to, I think it's like 40 or 50. So let's join one that suits this build. I'll just show you. So there are ones that help with ninja builds, ones that help with bomb builds, ones that help with specific weapons, like say attack and defensive hatchets. So you do want to have a little look and then find what's best for you. Some of these focus on specific, like rifles, and there's bows, and there's saving money, which is helpful. And there's just some really good stuff. So you have so many options, and it's not about just joining the one that everyone else is in. That doesn't always matter. So this one I've got on barehanded attack because one of my other builds is barehanded. But this one will just use a ninjutsu power. That's just the simple truth of it. It's just a simple ninjutsu power. And then you just keep it simple. Try and get something that suits your playstyle. This one here is actually really helpful. Blindness on ninjutsu hit. Blindness is a status effect that is awesome. So some equipment does provide that as a bonus. And that's something that's really, really helpful. Because then they don't hit you because they're blind. If you want to generate lots of glory, so this is just helping other people, playing together with other people, leaving your little sign on the ground so you can help others. And you can, it's quite, I wouldn't recommend buying any of this stuff, like as a habit. You could buy, shinobi boxes and sacred brushes if you got enough, but the herbal remedy is probably the most useful because it's a full heal, so it's another elixir. So if you always run out of elixirs, it's nice to have more heals, and if you can afford it, then it is good to have, say, herbal remedy. Everything else here, though, I wouldn't grow on dependency. These are all rare materials you need for crafting. So there's a certain combination which gives you the glue. So you can buy the ingredients for glue, and glue is so important. So I'm not gonna. Well, I'll go show you in the blacksmith, but they're not too expensive. I mean, they're 1,500. I've got only 787,000 glory, so I can afford a couple of things. That one's the summoner's candle. Just gets you. If you die a lot, you can get your spirit back to you, and then you can help you go through certain missions. But I would, again, don't worry too much about it. Unless you're so desperate to get your Amrita back. You died so unfortunately. Book of Reincarnation, of course, you can just use that. Reset your level. And it just gives you all of your Amrita back, so you can re-spend it on different skills. Again, there's lots of helpful stuff. And this one, the Zen Manual, just gets all your prestige points back, so you can do your titles differently if you want to change it up. So if you're changing builds, maybe you'll need to use these. Or if you just think you're doing it wrong. Which, may just be your perception. Oh wait, I want to show you. I bought all the other stuff, but one of the things you can do is gamble. There is actually like a gacha. It's not really a gacha, but it is. You can randomly try and get good equipment. So let's do something. Let's go for the Tonfa, because this is a Tonfa build. And you can... So you can do gambling. So I don't know how many new players will do much gambling, but it's probably unlikely. But it's mostly, you start with masterpieces and you work your way up to sacred treasures. So you do need to find the rarity. You move up the difficulties to unlock the sacred treasures. But it's just something that you can do. So I don't see people doing this very often. So you can just get like purple stuff. And the gestures and scrolls, I'm worried about that. Some of the gestures do have other things going on with them. I already did that again. The clan battles. Let's see what's going on. So the clan battles, they sort of matter, they sort of don't. I don't worry too much about it. Again, it depends on what clan I'm in and all that sort of stuff. It's not something you need to worry too much about. And appraising tea is good because you do want to have a tea set. So let's go to the hut. And you can always change your appearance. One of the things people maybe don't do. Manage your equipment set, doing your builds. Again, there's plenty of options. Checking deliveries. So when you help other people with your spirit you leave behind, and it's a co-op spirit and that helps people, you get rewarded for it, which is quite nice. Remodel hut. So we do have the tea utensils. So you're just looking for... You can try and maximize one particular aspect of it, but just to focus on, say, doing Splendor, getting more luck, so you get better rarity items, or you just get more money from simplicity, or eccentricity. It's really useful to get more tea utensils. But again, you get good stuff. You get stuff from missions as well. It's nothing... I wouldn't worry too much about it. And again, I've got the cat behind me. So there's a huge amount of systems and complex features, and I don't want to go too deep into them, but it is what it is. Refashion, one of the things you can always do is change how your equipment looks. So, and you can also turn off your helmet so you don't see it. So we've got plenty of options. You can always do your fighting ones. Different looking ones. Armor, one heavily armored or less armored. So, and that's very cheap. So one of the good things about refashion is it is really cheap. I don't recommend refashioning weapons too often because, again, you need to have some sort of joy when you find the actual weapon you're looking for. Tempering tips. So in this case, this weapon's pretty bloody average. You want to collect the correct Umbracite so you can do these, and Umbracite is kind of a pain in the butt. So this is what you'll be doing lots of missions for later on, is just getting the Umbracite. And the best ways to get it is helping other people. You get good Umbracite, particularly Fabled. Missions can give you Divine Umbracite as well as the other ones, but just thinking about your build is the key. So if you're, depending, some of these bonuses work on skills, others work on, so getting the life back, and then accumulation of elemental effects if you're doing that element. So saturation accumulation for water, and burn for fire if you want to do that sort of thing. And just block is a basic one. So early on, so when you get, I can't even do this. What's a nice weapon? Give me some. Come on, come on. What's a good one? A bow? No, here we go. So say you get these fists. Melee damage while critical is crap. It just means your low health, your damage increases, and I wouldn't recommend that at all. Looking at these, from the options you have, you go, maybe they're not good. Maybe attack bonus based on constitution isn't too bad, to be honest. And purified accumulation again if you don't purify. What you can do is just do a crappy one. And it just sorts through, gives you a whole bunch of new options. So every time you do just a low level Umbrasite one, it changes all the different options you get. So always remember you can cycle through them. You don't have to accept anything. You can just go, let's mix that. We've got break. So you can just check, that's imbue poison. That's interesting. So imbue lightning. So you get, attack bonus on skill. So you can always just run another, let's do pure accumulation. And then we can just go through and go, there's a bunch of different stuff. Or maybe it's the same. Just changing for your particular one. So let's see. Just changes your, this particular slot's selections. So we got that one. We give you paralysis, poison, attack bonus stamina, attack bonus courage. And we got, let's do damage with revenants. And we've got life drain, active skill, imbue water. So we got all these different choices, and we can just go through them. Now you get more choices depending on the rarity. So the green, divine, and then ethereal, you get more choices, of course. So this one's got pretty good stuff. High attack key consumption, melee key damage. Again, key is their stamina bar. It's just really helpful. Some mid attack damage. Probably this is one you could just switch with. Imbue paralysis or something. Again, the better stuff generally is lower, but everything you see here, you can roll it. If you just keep going, you can eventually roll lots of stuff at the top part. So you can get them for cheap. So just, it may take a bit of time though. Come on. But generally the better stuff is hidden behind, higher rarity. But sometimes you can get the good stuff at the top, so don't be without hope. Take bonus courage there. See, that's a good one. Alright. And for the armor, let's go armor. So armor is really where you're going to be focusing all of your tempering efforts. The things you want. Keys always helpful. You do always want a enemy sensor if you can get one. Enemy sensor is very, very, very helpful, especially for low level players or for new players. Enemy sensor just puts a red dot on the map for every enemy, and that's so helpful when you don't know where things are. We've got easy target. Don't worry about that. Item drop rate. Yeah, that sort of stuff doesn't really matter too much. Ninjutsu power, melee key damage. Life is always helpful. Toughness. That toughness mixed with defense changes how much you get staggered and how much damage you take. So it's kind of a mix of the two. So toughness is how much you stagger, how much you can get broken. And defense is how much damage you absorb before you take damage to your health. But again, it all depends on your build. So for early on, you're not even going to have a build. So you'll have a rough build. So you don't want to focus too much on it. Just keep looking at the basic defense. And then looking at the weight. Because the weight of your items really matters. I won't go into remodeling because that's a bit more complicated. So you want to play with other people. Expeditions, random encounters is great. You can play through the whole game with other people once you get through the first mission. And then you can go together with them like through most of the game. Well, pretty much the whole game. You can just play with other people. So let's do custom search. We'll do without conditions. So you can search without condition and just see where people are up to. Let's see if people are still playing. Of course they are. Of course they're still playing. There we go. Look at them all. So it does tell you their level and where they are, what mission. And whether I've done the mission. And whether I haven't done it. So there's no tick, which means I haven't gone through that mission. So it's good. It's really good you can see, other people. See, look at that. Level 750. Crazy. And you can do with conditions, so you can change it so whatever difficulty you want, or what sort of... You can do a secret word to play with friends, or you can specify an exact mission you want to do. So that's one of the really good things. The multiplayer in Nioh 2 is, it's just significantly better than any Souls game. Yeah, pretty much every Souls game in comparison is trash when it comes to multiplayer. So it's just the reality of Nioh 2's instances is they're separated by, a hub world over map type situation. So the nature of the game is different. So that helps. But it's just something that, it is what it is. The intro, I'm not going to talk too much about that. It's all spoilers. Having the secondary Guardian Spirit, you can get... The bonus changes. So for your secondary one, it does change depending on what your first one is. The, say, armor charge, kick consumption, your ability. Most of them aren't that good. So stuff like lightning damage is actually alright. Depending on your build, of course. But you do want to look at the one that passes over. So this one, it's 10 toughness passes over. And so that one's so-called drop rate, the auto grave recovery, life drain, Yoko ability hit, which is actually pretty nice if you don't already have that. Life drain water attack. So there is one that inheritable, well, not inheritable, one stat that does transfer over along with the other one, which is a mix of whatever you've got. So I just got lightning damage with the bear. Collect every soul core you find. If you don't need them, just get rid of them. So that one's actually really good, so I don't want to get rid of that. All the ones I have here have a purpose. But just keep them. And in particular, you want to keep... Where are they? Have I got any? Oh, I must have used them all. Okay. The mortal soul cores you get from killing human-type enemies, mostly boss dudes, they're the best because you can use them to soul fuse with anything. So you can just soul fuse anything. They always show up here if you have any. So you can make anything increase the soul core rank. And eventually, as you get higher rarity soul cores, they can become higher soul core rank and up to like 20. I mean, up to 30. So it's... And that increases their stats and the damage and things. And in the case of some builds, you need them like absolutely at 30. It's just a given. And attuning them, you can attune them via this. There's a couple ways to attune them. You can go here and pick the skill, say, and then you can pick it to whatever one you want to do. Or you can go through and you can do... So here we go, attune, and you can attune it via here. So once you go through the first mission, you can actually attune Yoko abilities, even though it doesn't want you to just yet. You can actually do it whenever you want. You just go through the Guardian Spirit menu, and you can just pick the ones you want. So you can just chuck a couple on. Maybe I'll do that one. And then you go, no, I'll go there, whatever. Or you can just get rid of them. So on the side. So you can do it even before it lets you... Like, before even Managed Soul Cores comes up, you can actually go on your Guardian Spirit and put them on. So, do remember to do that. Early on Constitution, it helps. Again, this is a ninja build, so it just focuses on dexterity. It's got a little bit of magic. It's just max of dexterity and skill. You do need basic stats up to, maybe 12, 13 for courage and stamina and strength and that. And heart. It's just because certain equipment, you can't wear it unless you have the right stats. And you'll know when you can't wear it because it'll come up with a red or an X and it'll be grayed out. Anything else that matters? You can get more jutsu the more you level up your dexterity and magic. So you can use more of them. And always go to the dojo and train if you need to train. So you can always do training. So we've got all these extra... But you can always go to the training ground and train your abilities. Learning your enemies is the most important thing in the game. That's the most important thing I can tell you. Blocking is great. Keep blocking. And just take your time. Early on you're going to struggle maybe. And I'm going to go through... Side missions help, but pick a weapon you like, pick a stance you like. I don't recommend switching stances too often early. Just practice. So these Twilight missions always have the quality Umbra side or higher level Umbra side, depending on what difficulty you're on. So that's where you can farm them for tempering. again, they're still quite challenging, but you'll find other people always doing them, so it's one of the things you can... Let's just check here, I'll just show you. So this is 569, Divine Ambrosite, and some nice ethereal or below weapons. So, yeah. There's a couple other things. We've got the Underworld and the Depths, and we've got Demon Parade Scrolls. I don't want to go into those, but just suffice it to say, they get better. You can get good stuff. Look at this one. Look at this one. Look at that. It's beautiful. But yeah, I've talked for a long time. Probably, you don't know if people are still around. Who knows? It's not about that. I hope this has been helpful. I hope I haven't talked too fast. If in doubt, go back. You're going to get a Yasukani, so I do want to finish on this. For beating the final boss in the first playthrough in Samurai Spirits, or the final boss in the main things, not the DLC, you do want to try and get better ones. So Yasukanis can be a big problem with builds, because you need to get the right set bonus later on, and so it's just going to be something that you're going to get a lot of Yasukanis. So you can farm them, there is a place to farm them. I'm not going to go where it is because it doesn't matter. It's just a high chance of getting it, but you're better off just beating the final boss again and again. Or just moving up difficulties. Each time you move up a difficulty, you get another Yasukani. And you can just get that effect of the set bonus requirements reduced. Later on, you can get that on any accessory. So just keep an eye out. Eventually, you'll be trying to collect the right sets. So you will be praying to the loot gods that you get the right things. You can transfer across the groups with the set bonus type thing. You can move that across. But that's something you can worry about later. But yeah, I use your rifle and your guns. Use your guns a lot. Headshots do tremendous damage. And yeah, that'll do, I think. Just keep an eye on your weight. Don't be too heavy, because then you can't dodge as well. So always keep an eye on that. Keep your agility B or A. B's probably fine. Keep blocking. And good luck. Good luck. I have a guide for how to go through the first mission. So I might do a guide for the second mission and the third mission. Just in case you need it. It's a really, really, really good game, Nioh 2. And it can be a little bit overwhelming. So I hope I didn't overwhelm you too much. But I want more people to play it. It kind of annoys me when they talk about, Dark Souls and Demon Souls and Elden Ring and things and Sekiro being great. And I'm like, dudes, Nioh. Played Nioh? It's the one that actually has like the deepest loot system. And look, the thing out there. And it's got history and all sorts of stuff. And great characters. And it's just like, dudes, play Nioh. Sick of it. Sick of them not playing it. Yeah, I hope you enjoy the game a lot. I hope you push through the end game easy by just doing side missions. Don't even worry about goddamn main missions. And this has been Frosty Fire 10. Rambling on. Yeah. Like and subscribe. And yeah, I'll catch you next time. Good luck. Defeat the yokai. And become the best half-human yokai. And make it, you don't have to make your characters... mine's got a unique style. This build actually started out as a bomb build, I'll just say as a final note. And I gave up because bomb builds don't work, because the whole bomb set is actually garbage, and I've, full complained. And everything. It's on the Reddit, and just gone, what the frick. But yeah, this is just a ninja build, so... which uses the cutoff cancel animation, so it's actually one of the most powerful builds in the game. But, we move on. I shall see you next time. Or not, or whatever. And, yes, good luck. Bye-bye. That'll do. Bye-bye.